Hello there, it's Paul here and welcome along everyone. Project this time, I've actually done a proper bit of pyrography. And I bought the Peter Childs pyrography machine quite some time ago now and not really done much with it. And I really wanted to try and do something with a little bit more detail work. So I did a test piece last weekend. And it was a coaster basically. Hopefully I'll show a picture up here. And the coaster, that was the piece where I took the coaster off, so you can see the size. It's about 90mm wide. So it's just over about 3.25 inches, something like that. And basically I found a picture off the web, and that was the one I did. And obviously, if you notice through the video, that's also what's on the first picture I did, but I actually just enlarged that specifically for the coaster. My last pyrography project, the little platter with the Nilfisk logo on, I tried actually burning through the paper, and it was quite successful, but it took a lot more time, and it's ideal for where you really want to burn fairly hard into your wood. So last week I bought myself some carbon paper. It's really thin. For those who don't know what carbon paper is, it's what we used to use for duplicating letters on things like typewriters and notebooks and stuff like that. And again, if you don't know what a typewriter is, I suggest you go and Google it. But it was one of those things that we used to use before the likes of computers and mobile phones. It wasn't a bad price. I think I paid something like about a couple of pounds for 5 A4 sheets or something like that, and this stuff will last absolutely ages. I've used this little piece here for all the images on this. And again, I found the images off the web. That's what I did there. I printed out 2 or 3 copies of these. Initially, because I didn't know what size box I was going to use, I'd estimated the diameter of the box to be a little bit smaller, and the idea was that I was actually going to cut this out as a whole and almost stick it onto the box, wrapping it around, and then go round all at once over the carbon paper. But as it was, the box was a little bit bigger, and I just then had to cut each of the individual pictures out to then just do one at a time. And it probably worked out better actually, because obviously the problem with carbon paper is if you do put any pressure on certain areas, especially any hard pressure, then it comes through onto the work. And there is another type of paper you can buy, I forget what it's called now, and it's very much like carbon paper, but you can actually rub it out with a rubber, but it is very expensive. We're probably talking at least maybe 10 times the price of carbon paper, which is why I went for the carbon paper option. I think when I did one of these, I did have an extra line on here which had actually got on there, and I just found with a very gentle rub with a bit of 600 grit sandpaper, it soon rubbed it off. But basically this box I had rough turned, probably maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and just left it on my shelf. Because the good thing about silver birch is it doesn't, so far I've found, is that it doesn't really crack very much as it dries. So, and especially if you rough turn it down, then you can usually then put it to one side in the workshop and let it just dry naturally, and it's surprising how quickly it does dry. The pyrography itself, I think on the first main image I did, I used the main tool which came with it, and I also used like the spade shading tool. which work quite well. But the thing I find with the spade shading tool is that because it's got such a large area that touches the work, the moment you put it on initially, the heat is obviously there, and it can put quite a dark mark to start with. But if you're swiping it along, the heat sort of comes away from the thing so quickly that it's not sort of like a constant burn or anything like that. So it's really ideal, obviously, where you want to put a dark shade on something and then bring it to light. But I think for the rest of the images, I kept just the basic standard wire in on the pyrography machine, and I actually found that it shaded quite well. I mean, my favourite on here is the little butterfly over the little sort of like grass. I think that's actually come out absolutely brilliant. I mean, I really did wonder whether I was going to be able to get the detail in there, because it was so small. When I started putting it on with the carbon paper, I really did wonder whether I was actually going to get something that even resembled a butterfly, let alone the detail I've got in there, because it's surprising actually with that standard wire of how small a point you can actually put onto the work. And like I say, I think that one has come out really well. As per usual, with a lot of my work now, I've decided on the shellac finish. I do actually prefer it. You don't get, unless you obviously buff it up an awful lot and do a lot more coats, you don't get a silky smooth finish, which I don't mind so much. It was just really a case to get it on, sort of just to protect it. I mean, the inside has stayed fairly dull. Again, I don't mind because it's the inside of the box. The grain lines up fairly reasonable. It's a really nice tight fit. My only criticism, if I had anything, especially follow my box series, again, proportions. I think probably in this case either the lid is too big, it could really do with half that size, or alternatively it could done with some form of either pyrography or patterns on the lid. But like I say, it's my first proper attempt, and I'm certainly going to be having a go at a lot more. So, I mean, if you've not done pyrography before, or you're trying to get into it a bit like me, I mean, I hope that the video has helped you. And I will say that the carbon paper is absolutely brilliant to use. And again, like I say, for even like the small butterfly where I've got so much detail in there, it's really a case of just using your carbon paper to put the main elements in. You don't need to go to the extent of trying to put all the little dots and everything like that in. Put your main shapes in, keep your picture then beside you, so that as you work, once you've got your main lines in, you can still then start putting the shading in and stuff like that, and you can even extend on what the picture's got. Because I mean, I think my main butterfly, it just didn't, it looked a bit plain in certain areas from what I'd copied across, and I added a little bit more shading in various areas to just to make it a bit more alive. So if this is your first time here, please do subscribe. You'll get notified then at least every time I upload a video, which is most weeks at the moment. For my existing subscribers, again, as per usual, a big thank you. You keep coming back, it's most appreciated. I'd appreciate it if everybody hit the share button, hit the like button, and please leave some comments below. Let me know what you think, whether you've done anything like this, whether you're thinking of doing anything like this. Hopefully the video's helped. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you on the next project video. Thanks a lot, bye.